All right, here we are, another inspirational Sunday. Man, I'll tell you what, Sunday besides sauce and a bottle of red wine, I'm telling you, these are the times that I look forward to. Next to me, Naomi Rodriguez, besides the beautiful smile, the young lady's going to
You.
share some inspirational journeys. But I got to tell you, it's been Naomi, and this is, I say, it's like power women after women after women. I get a handful of men, but I love, and I know I'm in for a beautiful inspirational story because Naomi is a single mom
I
and a
am.
bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And she's sporting the guns. I came across her on Instagram like I do with everyone. Inspirational just between workouts. And I know she's recently certified for a personal trainer, so she's going to unleash
Yes.
that. But just,
Yes.
before and after pics is just inspirational for me. But
You.
before I jump over to you, Naomi, just keep in mind that this is about, and you being a single mom, you've got, probably, it's safe to say, such a powerful mind to be able to continue a journey and have that great smile with a great attitude. So
Thank you.
take us, where are we going to start the unpack? And I know, in your intake, you wanted to talk about bodybuilding, but
Yes.
I'd like to point you as early as possible where you developed a very strong mind and work ethic, because that's what it takes to be a bodybuilder. Like, take
Yes.
us to the beginning. Where does it
Oh
unfold?
my. Okay, so this started actually about 6 years ago. Everything started because I ended up my marriage. And, I always been a fan of bodybuilding. I remember I was a kid. Oh my God. I'm from Mexico. So when my parents brought me to this country, back then was what, 1998? All I seen was magazines. I would go to the grocery store and I would pick up a magazine, and I was so fascinated to know how did these women back there, which were only few, could look that way. But of course, in the Latino community, it's not such an open-minded back then. Still, we're almost there. And then, of course, I graduated high school and I wanted to be in shape. I always played sports. That was my always. I played soccer, I played volleyball. I mean, always been into sports. And then I wanted to involve myself more in the gym. But back then, I used to live in a town named Lawrence, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Small little tiny town.
Right.
There was barely anything in there, just a Walmart, couple gas stations, and a buy low back then. That's it. Nothing else you could find. Physical activities, nothing. So, I got married when I was young. I was 19. Well, didn't get married. I got together with my boyfriend when I was 19, and I had my first daughter when I was 19. Then I had another daughter when I was 25. And, it's always been there. I always been an active person. I
Yeah,
love
if I can,
sports.
Naomi, and
Yeah.
a mom of two, outstanding. But just
Thank you.
so I could see where the roots of that mind, because I know where it's going. You're sharing the itching of wanting to get into something that you got passion for. Take
Correct.
me. So the United States, you came in. How
hmm
old? How old?
I was actually 6.
Okay, so 6 years old. Okay, so
hmm
we'll kind of start there. As far as you're one of siblings, how many?
Sibling. I'm
Okay,
the only
you're
child.
your only child. Okay,
Yeah.
growing up with mom and dad.
My mom and
Just
my
mom.
stepdad.
Okay, so you're growing up United States with mom and stepdad. At that time, how was the growing up? Meaning, you mentioned sports. Was mom and stepdad into pushing towards sports? What was?
Oh, so it wasn't not that they didn't want to. It's back then, 1996. The community where I was at, which it was Lawrence,
Hmm.
was no English. And when I was brought here, I didn't speak no type of English, nothing. So I've learned as I went. I mean, I picked it up a year later, thanks to
So it was
cartoons.
challenging, yeah. So I mean, when
Yeah.
you moved, it was extremely challenging. So it was more
Yes.
just trying to get acclimated in a new country.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes,
so
correct.
at what, and mom and dad supportive of you, good upbringing, or
Well, they were amazing. Don't take me wrong. My
okay,
stepdad, I mean, he's no longer with my mom, but I still call
okay,
him my dad.
okay,
And he was an
understood.
amazing father. And of course, back then, the language, the English barrier, it was humongous.
Yeah.
And I couldn't start a sport because how was my parents supposed to communicate and all that stuff? So I just watched from far away.
Right. So when at some point did you was a language barrier the ability to be able to be involved with intramural?
When
When
I
did
was in 6th grade, which
about
I was
sixth
probably
grade?
11.
Oh, so about 11. So up to 6 to 11, was it primarily no real activity or so? But
No.
how would you describe yourself? Itching to want to?
Yes,
What did
yes.
mom and stepdad, were they active in sports in their
Yeah,
country and all?
yes.
So they were
Yes,
part of that
yes.
athletic.
My yeah, my dad was a major soccer player. I mean,
Okay.
he became a referee. I mean, it was like I was more
He
attached
was
to my
active,
stepdad.
right. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
So you got that taste and you saw
Mhm.
from that because this
Exactly.
is where, I always talk of, and you being an athletic trainer, you'll definitely understand where I'm going with this because there's, the power of the mind, right? And
Mhm.
it's that,
Yes.
that developing that mindset and individuals, a lot of times, as we know, taking a step back, there's two paths you go down. It's either, that path of straight and narrow and feeding off of being able to be the best version of yourself with no distractions and being in all with the support and that athletic helps that, et cetera, et cetera. Or you're going down into the mindless where we know that can gear towards off. But you've got that taste of early on. And this is so important that I like to uncover. You were developing that mindset of athletics. And we know from athletics, you learn discipline and you learn
Yeah.
teamwork and dedication
Yes.
and all that. So at 11, you started just diving into anything
Yes.
you can get to play. Share,
Exactly. Yeah,
talk
it
to
was
me.
volleyball. So my dad played soccer and my dad played volleyball. So the thing with the Latino community is we couldn't officially play like a league. So the whole entire community grew by the time I was 11. It was many of us. So they would create tournaments with each other. They would bring people from Greenville, from Greenwood, and then the females start participating. So then at that time, I learned how to play volleyball by just playing with them. And then finally in 11th grade, we were able to sign up for volleyball. And, it was something new for me because I never actually
Yeah.
played with a team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it was
yeah.
something new. I played always with the family, with the friends,
Right,
but never actually with a team. Yeah.
right, right. So how did you adapt? How did you adapt with
It
that?
was it was cool because I actually learned the real rules. I'm not saying my
Yeah,
dad didn't
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. Right,
but
right. But you
yeah,
got to take you got a taste of athletics.
exactly.
You got to
And
take
then it became a little more tough because my parents were working, but enough for us to survive.
right. Understood.
We didn't get no welfare assistance. We didn't, everything was up on like we worked to survive. So I was only able to play 1 year because my parents couldn't afford to pay for the uniform, for the packages back then. So, it was okay. I understood we needed to sacrifice some stuff. And I
Understood.
continued playing with with the family, with the outside, with the community. And it was okay.
And
I
you
was okay.
continued, and that was through high school. Finished high school. Was
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right
then I
through?
tried out for soccer, and
Hmm.
then I wasn't a big fan of soccer, but I tried it for because my dad loved soccer, and it was okay.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, soccer, it's obviously outside the United States, it's enormous, right? It's
Exactly.
it's it's
Yeah.
huge. It's not
Yeah.
as it's a you got to be in shape for soccer, boy. I got to
Yeah.
tell you, you got to be in shape for soccer.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
doing soccer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that takes us as you started out of high school. What happened towards high school? Just right to
Exactly.
work or school or what?
I
What?
went straight down. So I couldn't go to college because of situations where immigration status and all
Mhm.
stuff. So you know what? I just did what I was supposed to. I found a job. I did my thing. I worked, and I always want to continue going to school, but unfortunately, I couldn't. And of course, my parents limited money.
Right.
I couldn't
Right.
continue. So I
Right.
just, did my thing. Went to
You did
school.
your thing, worked
Yeah.
hard. Any as far as from athletic standpoint or working
Mhm.
out, you were just kind of introducing, getting a taste or seeing. Were you working out? Did you start?
No, I didn't. It was more like I'm just gonna go play with my family members. We're gonna go check out some sports like soccer, volleyball, stuff, but never actually put a foot in the gym until I moved to Henderson County, which that was 12 years ago. No, I'm sorry. No, I was wrong. Actually, I did. There was a YMCA they opened up when my my oldest was 9. No, I'm sorry. No, my youngest was, I'm sorry, my oldest was, can't remember, probably 4. They finally opened up a YMCA in the town that I live.
You did. So you
Yeah,
had a passion for the working out. So at that
exactly.
time you were finally, and you
Yes.
had the 2 kids at this time?
I only had one. I'm
You
sorry. I
only
only
had the
had
one.
one.
You were married with one then, and
Exactly.
finally got a chance to
Yes,
experiment towards. So talk
exactly.
on that. How did that unfold? Just
So
working
I
out on yourself?
remember, yeah, yeah. I mean, I was through magazines. I remember I went into the YMCA. I did a membership, and I was just eager. But the room was so tiny, it was
Yeah.
limited because the YMCA was built for after school programs and for swimming and for stuff like that. So the room was tiny. Yeah, I had like 3 treadmills, a couple of dumbbells. Now that I think about it, it was
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
tiny.
yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
was eager because I wanted to have the body that I've seen in magazines, and stuff that TVs, movies.
Yeah,
I
you were
wanted to have it.
infatuated, and I listen, I can relate to that so much, and I got some years on you, and the gray hair doesn't lie. I'm back in the day of seeing, and it's funny, I'm that generation of seeing Arnold and Frank. You might not know the name Franco Columbo and all Lou, the Incredible Hulk, Lou Ferrigno, and all, and that was and it was always now you go on your phone and see, but it was the magazines and you were in awe on just looking at it. So I can certainly relate. Was your husband also active? No,
No,
no.
no.
So he just putting it, working, doing his thing. Was he
Yeah.
supportive? Was he supportive with you?
Can't say 100%
Yeah, understood.
because the mindset of you got to stay, you got to work, you got your kids come first. Then
Understood.
whatever,
Understood. Understood.
activities. Yeah.
It unfolded. Time went past. You had another.
Yes. So when then I moved to Henderson County,
Okay.
and this town is, of course, is 4 times bigger.
Hmm.
And then I started going to the gym, and then I realized that people knew actually about bodybuilding in here. So I became more eager, of course.
Yeah, of course. Now.
And then I started training, but then I got pregnant, and then I stopped, and then time went by, of course. After a year later, I went back to work, and I wasn't comfortable with my body because I gained like 30 pounds.
That's an interesting. I'm going to freeze you there because that's key now. Okay. So, and this is like many, it's that you are not an anomaly in the fact that you were working out, enjoying passion of the bodybuilding, getting a sample.
Mhm.
Fortunately, are you a religious person?
I believe there's something powerful out there.
Okay, understood. So with the grace of the power of intention and thought
Yeah.
and getting pregnant with your second, providing and now eliminating that activity. Now
Yes.
the weight gain.
Yes. Then I
And
had. Hmm.
a different look in the mirror, somebody else
Yes.
is looking at you, that reflection that you don't recognize. So did you get into after, to some point, any depression or anything of any
Yes.
nature? Talk
Yes.
to us. So at some point in time, and this is kind of a question, at some point in time, you got to a point that you had a defining moment and some
Yes.
type of inspiration. Share that point so people could relate because they're
Yes.
probably in it now.
Yes. So I guess I'm going to take a step back a little. So my partner traveled a lot for business. So I was always with my daughters 24/7. I worked, I did everything. So I was always with them. I am still, there. I'm always there, always there,
Hmm.
always there. And it came to one day, I think my little one was 2 years old, couldn't fit a large shorts. And it hit me because I went from a large to an extra large to an extra, extra large. And I started wearing saggy clothes, and I started wearing, during summertime, I will wear stuff that you will wear on the winter time because I was overweight. So then I remember I started working, and I got into a company that I'm still work for, which I think is crazy. And I remember that I have nothing to wear, and I decided to walk in there up 2 weeks later with my pregnancy pants on,
Mm,
the ones you put over your belly, because I gained so much weight, and I was shameful of it, but I couldn't admit it.
yeah.
But at the same time, there was a point where I felt so lonely for always being 24/7 with my daughters and no extra help, no anything. So I will eat. I will wake up at night and eat.
Depression. Was it
Depression.
were you still with your husband at the time during
Yeah,
this?
exactly.
So
Yes.
so there was, and by no means am I trying
Yeah.
to pry in any
No,
way,
none at
but
all.
there was a disconnect
Exactly.
of a severe disconnect. So
Yes.
this becomes in, which is unfortunate, but now how did it unfold for
Sure.
the change?
So,
How old were you? How old were you at that time?
oh my God, let me see. I'm 36 right now, so I've been in this. 30, 30. I
Yes,
remember
okay.
one
So
day.
6 years ago, you
Yes.
were in that at your lowest, we would say your
Yes.
lowest point.
Yes, at my lowest point of my life. Exactly.
Okay, so then what was that final defining moment that you said you picked yourself up and said, no more?
So at work, the ladies would bully. I will say, I mean, let's talk about it. It is considered bullying when somebody's constantly pointing out that you are overweight, making
Hell
fun of you because
yeah.
you are overweight.
And this is at
So
work they're doing it.
yes, exactly, at work. So if you come home and you already hear it from someone else, like, you are this, you have gained this much, and then you go to work and you hear it over there. So one day I remember I walked in, I will never forget this. I love her to the moon and back. She's my amazing friend. I remember one day and I walked into the gym and I was only allowed to work out for 1 hour. I hope that explains everything. Only
Mhm.
1 hour. I
Hmm.
was only allowed. That's it. No more
Okay.
than that. So then I remember I walked in and I saw my friend, Linda. Her name is Linda. And she was getting ready for a bodybuilding show. She had the most amazing physique. I mean, her arms, they were so beautiful. And I walked to her and I said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be nosy, but how do you manage to look like that?" She looked at me and she smiled and she said, "Oh, I'm 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 a bodybuilder." I'm like, "You're a natural bodybuilder?" She said, "Yeah." I was like, "No, hey, I want to
Yeah.
do that."
Wow, that is awesome. That's awesome.
Yes. So, I talked to her for a couple of weeks and I will see her. I will see her body changes because she was
Yeah.
getting ready for
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the show at that time, but she was getting ready for the show. So, I finally decided
Mhm.
a couple weeks later to grow some courage and be like, "Hey, Linda, can you teach me how to be a builder?
Yeah.
I want to do it so bad." She's so beautiful. She's amazing. She said, "Sure. But first, we need to lose some weight." And I was like, "I don't know how to do that. I mean, explain to me." And then, of course, I would talk to her every day, every time I went to the gym. So for that hour that I only was allowed to work out for, I would just rather walk on the treadmill and talk to her. And she would explain everything. She would
Yeah.
explain everything. And then I finally was like, okay, so I'm not stuck in this body. Just like everybody tells me that because I am a mom, I should be stuck in this body. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I can't get out of it. So of course, my friend started helping me. She would start guiding me with food. She would explain to me how food works.
Right.
So
Right.
I was like, I think I can do this. I can do some research. And I did. And then I figured it out and I was able to lose weight slowly by myself with her guidance of understanding with food and me searching. And I did it. And I lost the first 20 pounds by myself. And I was so
That
excited.
I gotta freeze you, and I gotta say I am so proud of you because
Thank
this
you.
is, and again from being a trainer and doing it, that first step in that defining moment, saying enough is enough, and it sounds like, and I know reading between the lines, you certainly underplayed and undertold the severe the bullying you received. I'm sure it was
Yes.
like severely.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
the
was.
bullying and being, the time limit that you can absolutely have. And it's
Yes.
unfortunately, one could get caught up in that. This
Hmm.
is how you're supposed to look. This is how you're supposed to act.
Yeah.
And you no longer can be what you're intended to be. And I always say the best version of yourself, and you cannot be happy for yourself. Take down the mirrors, walk around with blinders. And you know what? That's not okay. That's not okay.
Exactly.
Everybody's got different fingerprints, and that's what, it's supposed to be called a partnership, and it's supposed to be called respect and dignity and all the above. So for
And it
you
wasn't.
to be, and it wasn't, and I'm elaborating this a little bit because just so you can really feel good about yourself, the very fact that you're able to stand above and beyond that hole that was not intentionally dug for you because you had a kid. I mean, the body changes, right? But
Yeah, of course.
you know what the nice thing is? The body can
Mhm.
change back. It
Yes.
can, but it
Yes.
takes mind, body, and soul, right?
Yes,
And it takes
yeah,
support. And
yes.
you did not receive it. The hole got bigger
No.
with people,
Yes.
pulling stuff under you. So for
Yes.
you to pick yourself out of that hole and seek with a little bit of, individuals and that person, your friend, just to be able to
Yes.
talk to you is an amazing.
Yes.
She opened Pandora's box for you. That's incredible.
She did. She's
That's
so
incredible.
amazing. She
It's
did.
incredible. So that was baby steps. So you can, it's an encouraging thing that to, inspirational and baby steps, and you saw a change. So from that change, what kind of reception did you get from home or work? Did that
Okay.
change?
So no, it got worse. So when I finally started losing the weight, I got let me put the words correctly. Flash. I got specific comments where I was spending too much time, and I was getting it from from I would say from home, and I was getting it also from my mother. So it was like three people now. It was like
Yeah.
three groups, you know?
Right. Right.
Like, how dare you want to do this? How dare you? They made it sound like I was putting myself first before my daughters, which it wasn't nothing like that. But because it's been a little more extra time, decided to start giving up certain things, like in front of TV, instead of eating certain things. I start saying, no, I can't eat that. No, I can't do that. I don't have time. I have to go to the gym. I start putting myself out there first. I got a lot of no, 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 no. How dare you do that? No. So then
Negative
from everywhere.
from everywhere, and not a healthy negative. Not a healthy
Exactly.
negative. So
Exactly.
that may, and I'm sure it's safe to say that made you want to do it even more.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna prove you wrong and
Good for
I'm gonna
you.
prove you
Good for
wrong.
you. Because you could
Yes.
have easily, I mean, listen, I'm
Yes.
sure your kids didn't get less love. They got more love because when
Yes.
you listen, when you made a comment, and I want to give you an analogy. You made a comment that somebody's saying that you're putting yourself before your kids. I'm going to say this. If one doesn't feel comfortable in their own skin and feels depressed and
Mm-hmm.
can't help themselves, one can't give the best of themselves to others. It's that analogy when you're on an airplane and they say
Hmm.
you're sitting with your young child and the masks come out. You need to put the mask on yourself to be able to breathe so you can help the child. It's not reversed.
Correct.
So that that, and whether it's, and not to say anything of anything more than sometime it's the old school mentality or just
Yes.
the,
Yeah.
not happy. I always say it's not happy with yourself, and it's easier to want to be able to point fingers and take away
Yes. Yes.
if they see somebody have this instead
Yes.
of, right.
Exactly.
So you were determined and you put the pedal to the
Yes.
metal. Talk to
Yes.
me. Continue on from there.
Yeah.
How did it
So
unfold?
I was able to lose weight. And then, of course, my friend told me she couldn't continue helping me because now I understand when you are like 2 to 3 weeks before your competition, you're tired, you're hungry, you need to sleep, you need to focus, you need a lot of you, which I understood. I
Mhm.
respected her. So I was like, well, if I was, so I'm sorry, was I able to do this by myself? I need to find help. So I looked around and I looked around and I looked around, and then I found a coach, which now I understand that I needed it. I needed her in my life. She has I'm just going to say it straight. She was a bad coach, really bad,
Mhm.
really, really bad. She got me to the point where it was so intense that I constantly had blackouts during prep, which now I understand that is not a natural thing to have, you
No.
know?
There.
It was bad. So, you know what? I kept pushing through it. It was my first show. It was a tiny little branch that, you know, like all I'm gonna say is that I needed that to understand bodybuilding better than anything. So I competed, and I competed in a really bad moment. It was bad. My health was down to the roof. Down. I mean, it was horrible. My stomach problems were bad, all because she was not a good coach, and because she told me to drink fat burners like water
Mm.
six
Mm.
times a day for the last 2 weeks because she was just
Bad advice.
bad
Beat you up.
advice.
Bad advice beat you up. Well, I'm
It
glad you
was
got
bad.
at least got through it and
Yes.
you're, healthy at this point, I
Yes.
assume. Yeah. So
Yes. Super
bad
healthy.
coach. So
Yeah.
how
So
was
then,
how was home life supportive or
oh, it was
still
bad.
troubled?
No, it was bad.
Troubled.
No, during that period of time, me losing weight was like bodybuilding just made me wake up. So I decided to separate myself from my
Mm-hmm.
significant other, and I cut ties with my mother and any other people who couldn't see what I was trying to do. And I can say it was really rough for me because I expect the support from the person who's really close to me. I expected specifically from my mother. And no, I couldn't do it because it was bad. What I was doing was, first of all, me showing my body in public was bad.
Mm. All
How
right.
dare I want to do this? Why am I giving more time to myself and not to my kids? Now, during all this time of me training to get ready for a show, I would take my daughters to school, daycare, I would work. I would take them to their activities. At that time, my oldest was 7. She would take dance 3 times a week. I was really involved with the school. I mean, I was there. I was getting ready for a show. I was working full-time job. And then I was at home, mom, cook, clean, did everything by myself all the time. And then train. So find time for all that was really hard for me. And then hear negative comments like, how dare you do this? Oh my God, if anything happens to your daughters because they're always by themselves. But they never by themselves. That's the thing. They never were.
So and kudos, and I could relate. Having yes, I could solely relate. What you just described is the ability having a strong mind and desire for passion for something. You
Yes.
described the ability, if you balance your
Yes.
life correctly, you can
Yes.
be a great supportive mom with kids in
Yes.
activities
Yes.
and do what's important for you to put a smile on your face, to feel good about
Yes.
yourself
Yeah.
and continue.
Yes.
And you know what? As being 59 and going through my journeys, sometimes you have to always, and I'm not going to say sometimes, to be the best version of yourself, to have the best support team around you, meaning anybody you involve yourself within your circle needs to have a purpose of in a
Yes.
positive nature, that glass
Yes.
half full,
Yes.
nurturing. And sometimes
Yes.
those individuals that got to be pushed out of the circle are family. I mean, just because
Yes.
it's family doesn't mean that you should be talked down to and made
Exactly.
feel like a piece of shit,
Yes.
man. I
Exactly.
mean,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
good
I
for
can definitely
you, man. I mean,
yes.
good for you. Well, you're better for it. So continue on. As far
Yes.
as what
So then
happened, take me
yeah.
down.
So then, I competed, separated myself, and then
Hmm.
I was, if I really think about it, I was always a single mom because I was always with my girls, did everything by myself. Then, I became this. Then one day, I will never forget this. My coach, I represent the nonstop team. I'm part
Hmm.
of the nonstop team. My
Hmm.
coach is David.
Hmm.
Remember one day, because I was ready to give up on bodybuilding because of the horrible blackouts I had. And I was like, you know what? I was going through Instagram, and then one day, Dave, which is 4 years ago, sends me a message and says, I noticed you. Oh no, he said, hey, congratulations on your win. I posted my photo out there of that show. And then, I start following him. And back then, maybe I could be mistaken. I think there was only 30 of them back then. He was just starting. And I was like, what? He said, oh, congrats. I was like, oh, thank you. And I was like, you're a prep coach? He was like, yeah, I'm a prep coach. I was like, oh, I just finished a bodybuilding show, but I'm not 100% sure I want to continue competing. And of course, Dave being so freaking bubbly, he sends me a message telling me how I should compete. And I was like, I don't know about that. And then, it took me about 2 weeks to finally, I think I heard the message about 4 times.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And then I finally responded back and I was like, okay, listen. And I tell him the whole story of how bad I had experience with the coach and that I will never want to be on fat burners ever again because they're horrible.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I tell them I have a lot of stomach issues. I cannot process no meat. I can't do anything. My only thing at that time I was eating was chicken soup because my
Right.
stomach was horrible.
Right.
Then of course Dave is like, I got you. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then we continue losing more body fat. But during that time, before we got into my first show with him, I think the situation became worse on my personal life because I got more rage from people who I pushed away because it was more like, I cannot believe you're still doing this. I thought it was supposed to be a one time thing.
Mm,
Aren't you ashamed of this and that? And I was like, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I'm going to sit down, make you watch what I am about to do.
yeah.
And you're going to eat every word you ever said to me. And every time you made me cry for, I questioned myself daily for months if what I was doing was right. And of course, my friend Linda is always there. She's always telling me, no, you got this. Now, I guess I didn't say this from the beginning. I am up here in Henderson County. I don't have
Mm,
any family members.
mm.
It's just me by myself. So me being new to a town, learning everything around, learning to move around by myself, it was tougher. I mean, it was tough.
But you're driven.
Yes,
Why?
yes.
Why? Why do you feel you're so driven? Where's it coming from?
Honestly, I think I was habit. I love helping people, but I think it's more like I want to prove people wrong. Like, you think I can do it? Oh, have a seat. I'm gonna make, or
Yeah,
and it's also, of course, I'm an
you got that
immigrant.
belly of fire, man. Don't forget
Yeah,
where we started at the
yeah,
beginning. At the
yeah.
beginning, your mind frame
Yes,
was about wanting to do athletics, and you were
yes.
in neutral until you did, right? And then how'd you like that competition and playing, volleyball?
Did.
You loved it. So
Yeah,
now, when think back volleyball, with your friends and all, and people saying, you guys are gonna lose. What happens, man? You turn up the burners, right?
exactly. Yeah.
So this is where we talked about, it's like your
Yes,
mind was
yes,
conditioning early on, and it was
yes,
conditioned the battle, unfortunately, the battle through your personal life.
yes.
When you're in the battle in the gym and wanting to
Mm-hmm.
step on stage, and the coaches give you what to do, right, wrong, or indifferent,
Right.
your attitude is, I just got to get it done.
Yes,
My girl has got to go to dance. I got to just
yes,
get it done. I got to get this done. I got to
yes,
get that done.
yes.
And if anything comes at you, your ex or any of the above, it's like, I can't
Yeah,
have that. That's done. I
exactly.
can't have
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. And my
It's a
dad always
competitive
taught
edge.
me, yes, my dad has always taught me since the beginning, be like, if you want something, you go get it. You don't wait for anybody to give it to you. And it's always been in my head, okay, my dad told me I needed to do this. My dad never treated me as, because you're a woman, you can't do this. No, my dad taught me how to change tires. My dad will make me, be out there with him.
Great man. Great
Yes,
man.
he's an amazing man. And then
Great man.
he always tell me, "You want some? You better go get it." And I guess it's always been like that. Like, if I want it, I don't care how long it takes me, but I will get it. And same thing with bodybuilding. I fell in love with it. Especially I remember my first show. Could not believe I was so tiny. I went from like 220 pounds to like 140
Wow.
in less than a year.
Wow. That's
And my
great. That's
body,
fantastic. Reshaped itself.
yes,
Good for
yes, it
you.
did.
Yeah,
It
good for
did.
you. So let
And
me
it was
ask you,
Mhm.
let me ask you this. As that journey continued, is it safe to say that the sacrifices you had to make got easier because it became second nature, as far as wanting to have to do stuff? Meaning, when it got tough, was
Mhm.
it easier to push through and do it, or to quit? Which was
No,
easier? Quit or move
quit
forward?
never. Quit never. Ever. Never.
As where I'm going with this,
Yes.
as you kept accomplishing
Yes.
tough tasks,
Yes.
got easier, got easier. Now, I'm not saying that the duty itself was
Yeah.
easy. I'm just
No.
saying that you were well, look at you. You're a single mom in a new
Yes.
town on your own. That
Yes.
is huge, but you're doing it. And I'm sure it's like, I got this, right? I mean, I got
It
this.
was it was something like that. I think I always think like fuck it. What can go wrong? I mean, if it's already going wrong, if it's already going left, it's gonna continue going left. And
Right on. Good
I
for
mean,
you, man. Good for you.
and that's it. But never got easy. I could definitely tell you that. To as right now, still. it hasn't got easy. I just learned I cannot control no one else's actions or thinking, just mine. So if something flips today, then I just take a deep breath and be like, I can find a way. I can find a way.
Yeah, that well, what I mean, and let me clarify. I mean, it got easier to do what you just described, meaning how to handle shit, not the
Yes,
task. I'm not saying your
exactly.
life got easier.
No,
I'm
yeah.
saying the very fact, like, think if you think of what you went through, say, the past 2 years,
Hmm. Yes,
10 years ago, it might scare you like, I couldn't handle it, right?
yes,
But you went through it
yes,
now. So
yes.
I'm sure your attitude is even what you just said, hey, I'm gonna roll with it because
Yeah.
I'm just right.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's gonna happen? I mean, I'm already
Exactly.
deep.
That
Exactly.
that's awesome. So continue. You were prepping, you
Yes.
stepped on stage again.
Yes. And it was her first show with Dave, and it was probably one of the best feelings I ever had in my life. And it had nothing to do with competing. See, everybody says that. It's like, I want to step on stage. I want to wear the suit. I want to be pretty. No, bodybuilding for me is not that. Bodybuilding for me is how well can this prep shape my mindset? Not the
Amen.
body. The body is cool. The body is willing to do whatever you want it to do. The problem is the mindset. If you can control your mindset, if you can push through those moments where I don't want to wake up at 4 in the morning because I am tired, but if you can change it to, listen, I only have to do this for an hour, and then maybe if I'm smart enough, I can get back home, take a 30-minute nap, wake up and drink a coffee. But for me, bodybuilding is not what everybody says. No, for me, it's new level. What else can I do?
Naomi, and it's just amazing for what you said because the that is exactly what the unbroken is representing, meaning it's all about the mindset and
Yes,
your attitude isn't it right now it's gearing towards the things that got to get done to step on stage, but
yes,
that's because you expressed it, but that description goes for life. That mindset is for everything, and that is what the unbroken represents. That is where your mind is, and it is amazing because the stage is just a reward to shine under the lights. It's the
yes,
journey, and it's not about prep. It's about the entire journey. It's your
yes,
life journey. And each and every time you step on stage to be able to share the journey which you're doing now is just an incredible feat. So that's great. What a great takeaway. So since then, how has it been since
So
family or any of
then
the above?
we I've continued with my daughters. For sure she won mine. So when she turned 13, which it was about a couple of years ago. So the first show with Dave was actually 4 years ago. Then we were getting ready for another show. And then around that time, my oldest turned 13. And then I think COVID, no, it wasn't COVID. Was it COVID? I can't remember really well. Anyways, between that time, that frame, my daughter developed anxiety. So my daughter has chronic anxiety, passed down from the family member. So it was tough for me because in my community, as Latinos, we don't hear what anxiety is. We don't know what
Right,
depression is, even though
right.
that I am aware that I lived it with my little one. I'm sorry, yeah, with my oldest, my youngest. I lived depression with my youngest, which I didn't understand, but I understand now because that's why I gained so much weight. Because for me, it wasn't like I want to cry, I want to get out the house. For me, it was like I want to go eat this in the middle of the night, or if I felt bad, I would just eat until nonstop. Of course, nobody explained or nobody talks about it in the Latino community what anxiety is, what depression is. So I learned the hard way by putting her in the hospital. I had to commit suicide.
Right. That's so I'm so sorry to hear, but
It's
it's a tough
yes,
situation,
it is.
especially is. So
Yes,
is she okay?
she is amazing. People, I don't know how to say this. I believe that everything that happened in my life is to shape me to be a better person. And I'll explain to you why in a minute. Do I regret what I lived with my daughter? Yes, I do. But I think if I didn't lived it, the relationship I have with both of my daughters wouldn't be as hard as it is now. Like we are solid. We are one, I can definitely say. So my daughter learned what anxiety was. I learned what depression was. Then took me about a year. We found a great therapist. He explained to me she's going to therapy. She is doing way much better now, of course. She's beautiful. Anyways, we lived a whole year, a really rough year. And in that rough year, I learned that sometimes we have to be nice to people because we don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they're living. And then I learned to be more patient with people, even if they're rude. And that itself, I took it during to the last 2 weeks of prep because it's us. We're the ones who are tired. We don't need to lash out to them. We need to understand each other. We need to understand ourselves while we're in prep, especially us as females. When we're getting really close to our cycle, we're tired, we're grumpy, and we want to eat everything. So if we can learn to understand, to be patient with ourselves, we will be patient with the rest of the world.
Amen.
And
Yeah.
that
Amen.
is what my daughter taught me with her anxiety, is to be patient and kind to people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was something that now I understand I needed to live with her, of course.
Yeah. And she's
Okay,
13, she's 13 now, or
she's actually 16 now.
she's 16 now. So what
Yes.
an inspiration. I mean, she really grasped the therapy
Yes.
and wrapped around it.
Yeah.
That's just an
Yes.
amazing. Yeah. So
It was just
I'm
a
happy, and what a great influence
yeah.
and rub off connection for you guys. Because that
Yeah.
had to be, as a mom, the
Yeah.
struggle to see your daughter through.
Yes. Yes. It was definitely a journey that I needed to go through with her. For a whole year, we went through a lot. I ended up competing, I remember that year, in Washington. And it was probably one of the best competitions. I didn't place, and it's okay because I understand. But it was more that I was going to go take this vacation with my daughters
Mm,
and get my daughter out of her head. And it worked. And it worked
that's
great.
great. Fantastic.
And we bonded, and it was even better. And that was probably a really rough year. Then, of course, now she's better. She's just an amazing girl. She's getting ready to take off to college next year. She's about to be
That
a
is
senior.
fantastic.
Yeah.
How does she feel about mom bodybuilding? Does she have any interest as well, or
Oh my God. No, she says that she couldn't do it because she says she will get tired of eating the same thing over and over and over and over.
yeah, yeah,
So
that's
no,
a
no,
tough
no.
one. Yeah. How
No,
about
but
the
during
other?
that
How about your
so the youngest, okay, so I call her my little one. She is amazing. She's bubbly, she's super bubbly. And it's crazy because they will ask her, hey, your mom, now that so I started, okay, let's go back. So the reason why I became a personal trainer, because last year I ended up in a really tough situation where I needed to get a second job. And I remember it got so bad. It, it got so bad where I was counting points in my car to make it through the week.
understood, understood.
So, and you may be thinking, why? Let's kind of
Oh, I
say
may
it
be
kind of
thinking
fun.
I can
Yeah.
relate, man. I listen,
Count points from the bottom of my car, even though I have a
you know,
full-time job.
yeah. You got two girl listen, how expensive it is out
Medication is
there,
expensive.
medication is expensive,
It is.
and just, going to the store and trying to, well, now the eggs is just out through the roof, but I get
Right.
how difficult it is.
It
So
is.
no, I kudos to you. And again, here it becomes another challenge,
Yes.
and you
Yes.
solve the challenge, got aggressive,
Yes.
got certified.
Yeah. So we were supposed to compete. I competed at Greensboro 2 years ago, and I loved it. And, I was talking to Dave, anyways. So last year, 2024, I told Dave, okay, we're gonna compete again for OCB for Clemson, and then we're gonna compete for Greensboro. But then, of course, life shifted, and I became where I needed money. So then I ended up getting a part-time job for Ingles. So I went from like 40 to 45 hours straight into like Friday afternoon, straight go into this and work Saturdays and Sundays. I'm thinking, I got this. I got this. I can do this. I got this. I got this. I'm willing to sacrifice. I've sacrificed so much for this sport. I'm willing to sacrifice more for it. It's okay. I got this. And then, of course, the whole year we were in prep. We were in prep all the way into June. And Dave, who is an amazing coach, he's super honest, by the way. He definitely, I love the way he is. He pretty much told me, listen, you can't handle this. We need to jank you out because your health is more important than I understand what you're trying to do, but I don't think it's worth it right now. We need to jank you. So he janked me, and I respect him. I remember I was really mad
Right,
because I
right.
had a goal. I felt like I was set back.
Understood.
And they was like, take it, whatever you want to take it, but we will not put you in a show until you are not this specific weight. And I understood it wasn't because I wasn't, not exercising, not doing prep, not following. No, it was because of stress.
You
Something
have
I
life.
learned.
You have life. Life goes on. But the nice thing
Exactly.
is that there's many shows.
Yes, that's what he
Bodybuilding
said.
is like it's a lifestyle and it'll
Yes.
continue. So you work through work
So we
wise.
end up, yeah, so I end up working all the way into July. And I remember one day I was really, really tired. I felt bad because I didn't compete. And I remember I saw Kelly. Her name is Kelly. She's an amazing bodybuilder. She's also for the OCB. Her name is Kelly. I remember I saw Kelly. I went to go check the Yorkin Cup and I saw Kelly. She was looking really good. And I saw her that day in the show. I congratulated her and I was like, hey, so when do you have time to work out? Are you a manager from the gym? So she tells me, yeah, I'm a manager from the gym. I used to be a personal trainer a long time ago. And then the idea clicked. I said, oh, doing this long enough. Understand how the body works. I certified myself as a coach and I started it. I got home, I looked up different companies and I ended up falling for this one. And I said, okay. So I typed to them on the phone and I was like, how many weeks? He said, you can do up to 4 weeks or 6 weeks. You can become a coach. I'm thinking more like, I don't need to work for anybody. I just have enough Latino clients who are always asking me, you can train me. You got this. If I can get 4, I would replace Ingo's job and then I can be home and then I can train again. All I'm thinking is I need to
Yeah.
get back into training.
Diligent. Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
you
I
got
need
a
to get
goal.
back.
You're goal oriented. You're hungry. I love it.
Yes.
I
Yes,
love
that was
it.
my goal. So,
Yeah, I
I
love
got on
it.
the phone with Dave and I told this to August on Dave. Hey, Dave, listen, I am about to certify myself as a coach. Just want to let you know. And he's like, okay, let me know. I can help you with, let me know if you need any help with, I'm here for you, girl. On, 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 on. I didn't tell anybody because I've learned that if you say stuff before it's
Right.
created,
Yep.
bad vibes will kill
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Okay. So, blah, blah, blah. I certified myself in like 5 weeks. And then I realized the program came with nutrition. And then I certified myself. I remember it was August, late September. I get a phone call from one of the local gyms around here. And I was like, hey, he's like, hey, Naomi, we saw that you have a resume. I was like, I got a resume? No, I don't. I already had 2 clients with me. That's all I needed. For me, it was
Right.
just 2 clients to get back in the gym because we are going to compete 2025. And I go in the interview and I'm thinking, I'm not gonna get it. I am fresh to this. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
get it. I go up, I show up, I do the interview, and then the guys are like hyped up, blah blah blah. And the guy is like, I'll let you know. I'm thinking I walked out. Like I didn't get it. It's okay. I can get one more client and
Right.
that's all I need. Good. Oh my God, 2 weeks later, I'm scrolling through my phone and I get an email that says the gym that I work for is called Strong Hands. This is Strong Hands. His name is Ian. Hey, this is Ian. We loved you. We want to see if give you the opportunity to come in as a personal trainer.
That's fantastic. Good for you. Yeah. See? Your hard
And
work was
then
paying off.
exactly, I remember 4 years ago, I told my friend Linda, could never be a coach. I don't got
Yeah.
patience for that. I don't got the patience for it.
Yeah, but you know what? You have the patience, right? I mean, you have the patience, you have the understanding, you have the experience. It's that I always say, do as I say, do as I do, as I've done, and you can relate. You're relatable. You're going to bring more than just book knowledge. It is priceless. Wow, what a
Yes.
journey. So now you have a target date, a goal date. You're back.
Yes, yes, yes. I think that, yeah. So far, let me ask you a question. Going back to me, what does my little one think?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it's crazy because my everybody in the community knows this gym because it's for powerlifting, strong hands.
Mhm.
Anyways, so everybody knows who I am now, and they'll ask my oldest. They'll be like, "That's your mom? Hey, you looks good. You got some amazing
Right
body."
on.
And she'll be like, all shy and everything. But the little one's like, "Yeah, that's my mom. My mom is cool. My mom is a personal trainer. My mom is a bodybuilder. I certified myself as a Zumba instructor." It's
Right.
like, my mom knows how to dance. She can dance your mom's fat away. Don't make fun of me because my mama looks better than you. And I just look
Boy.
at her and I'm like, Mommy, we got to be gentle with people because we don't know what they're going through.
Amen.
So, yeah. So, my daughters are definitely, I can definitely tell you that bodybuilding has shifted my life 100%. Was it worth everything I went through that sometimes I go through? Yes. If they ask me, would I go back and do it again? Yes. 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 Over and over again.
It
Yes.
was
Because,
your
like I said,
inspiration. It was your inspiration. I
yes.
mean, it kept you driving. I mean, people have you think back on that defining moment
Yes.
that you
Yes.
had.
It's been a journey. I can tell you that as a single mom. Has it been tough? Yes. Is it worth it? I can speak for myself. It was worth every single penny because I got my body back. I think I even got a better body now than what I did when I was 17. Was it tough? Yes, definitely tough. Especially as a Latina, when being on stage is rare. It's really rare. I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that because of being a mom. Because in Latino community is amazing, don't take me wrong, but you put your kids before you. So in other words, you lose is your kids, your husband, and then you. And I did the opposite. Put myself first, then my girls. But I learned,
But that's what was needed for you to be able to be the best version of yourself.
yes,